And the other thing, Aurelien, I would say is too much discussion is happening in meeting rooms.
Yeah.
Get out of the building. A very famous scene when we do startup, growth, hacking. Don't spend time in the meeting rooms and conference rooms.
All right, everybody. Welcome to our second edition of the ITC podcast. We're here to talk about digital transformation in China, in luxury, but also in other industries. Today, I'm super excited to have our guest speaker, Nishtha Mehta, to join us. Nishtha has been in China for a very, very, very long time. She's one of the most famous change facilitator and innovation coach. She's been working with so many different organizations, has been an entrepreneur as well for quite a long time. And I'm very happy to have you with us, Nishtha, today. So if you could start by introducing yourself, that would be fantastic.
Oh my God, that was a real huge, I don't even know whether I deserve that, a huge opening, but thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to know you and work with you over the years, Aurelien. I think I can't believe I just reflected this morning. It's been close to 20 years in China. Of course, based here, but working on global, regional, international missions as well. India, China as well. Thank you so much and nice to meet all of you online watching and listening. So in short, change facilitator. I started with business strategy as my foundation, working with marketing, digital transformation, digital media, creative industries, and transitioned into this whole innovation and transformation, change management space about 14 years ago, where I left my corporate job, worked with WPP, worked with Omnicom, and then transition as an entrepreneur because I saw a gap. And I thought, why don't I experiment? Why don't I explore challenging my own skill sets and learn things I don't know? And then I realized a huge space for business leaders, for innovation, change managers to get into their own upskilling and keep pace with the changing times. And that became my mission. How do I facilitate work with leaders across organizations, multinationals, and also local companies on supporting their change missions, transformation missions. How do you bring new capabilities? How do you collaborate with capabilities? In today's day and age, there is no organization who can have everything.
Yeah.
So how do you bring together X capability with Y capability to drive open innovation? How do you collaborate with a German startup, let's say, with a Chinese company who is offering a complementary skill or manufacturing unit, and how do you actually take to market? So people like us as facilitators bring that value, but also in my role as an innovation coach, sometimes it is not about advising, but it is about supporting the leaders to make their own decisions to drive their growth.
That's very
So I
interesting.
really enjoy this facilitation on one side, coaching on one side, and it's all about the people, the leaders driving change. We are just enablers.
What have you seen, are the biggest bottleneck to decision-making process when, different managers, director want to transform, their business when it comes to, customer engagement and customer engagement strategies? I would say both in China and globally. What?
So great question. Decision making itself, or rather swift decision making, is the bottleneck for business leaders.
Yeah.
Let's call them innovative leaders, right? Because you'll never have the answer. But the definition of innovation and growth means you don't have all the answers, you're experimenting. So are you able to take swift decision based on some data point, some hypothesis, some validation, even it's not perfect? That's what great leaders do. And we can take examples a lot from, of course, all over the world, but specifically from India, China. And while we're sitting in China, I would say there are 2 or 3 learnings we can really look into, zoom into. One, what's the model, the operating model for great leaders? or China as an entity or a nation as an entity. Investment-led model. I know post-COVID, we all know the pressure on the business and all of that, but myopic short-term view is not helping. And what China has done great is investment-led. Where am I investing for day after tomorrow, but I'm investing today? Right? Have you read the news? We spoke about this in the morning. Ehang has just launched
the
flying
taxis.
And they're so confident they've got the license from the Chinese government that they are launching
Very impressive,
passenger-led flying taxis in 3 years.
That's quite impressive.
So the point is, we had never heard of this company. This company did not exist a few years ago. So the companies, okay, this is a new company set up for this, but there are other companies.
Yeah.
Look at Meituan.
Shopping is doing the same thing
Exactly.
as well.
So if you look at Meituan, the quick commerce one, I mean, look at their drone delivery. It is now so common. I was in Shenzhen a few months ago, and I could see normally walking across the street drone deliveries for KFC, for others.
Yeah.
So long-term investment is happening today, even when things might not be clear. So brands, even luxury brands, everybody should look into that. Number 2, I would say, is capacity building. In my world, in our world of innovation and transformation, we also call it capability building. So you're building capacity and capability for scale. Now, in that model, of course, as a good businessman, you will see a risk if my capacity is not utilized. Will I lose? This is where collaboration comes. I know many factories in China, in Europe, who are now smartly sharing their capacity or capability, whether it's in manufacture, whether it's in supply chain, whether it is in R&D, with others. Some of them can be competitors as well. So that is the power of collaboration, and that's the kind of work we enjoy doing, right? Number 3, talent. Look at the investment, look at the government report. I mean, I'm very proud from my own nation. From your own nation, you're very proud. We're also working in Experience China. One thing we should admire about China is the government involvement for the positive, actually. I won't get into the politics of it.
Yeah, of course.
The business side. So if you look at the third point on talent, the effort from classrooms to adult workforce on upskilling, and the government latest report, just released a few days ago actually, is very clearly stating their priority of investment and talent development for the future. They don't want to be known just for manufacturing anymore. They want to be the R&D leaders for quantum computing, for AI, for data sciences, for innovating actually to create for the world, not only for China. So I would say let's look into these 3 aspects. As an organization, what can we learn from other categories?
Yeah, that's quite impressive to see how fast things are shifting at the moment. And like going back to like some of those bottlenecks, like what you see in a lot of organizations is that there's a lot of like shyness when it comes to making those decisions. Like it's all going to be more about like nobody wants to really make a decision, even if one person is in charge. Like they kind of try to feel a little bit, like to try to read the room. Like okay, what if like the Chinese team says this and the team in HQ saying this, then like we're going to go in the path of least resistance, like, and, I feel like this is, like working with bigger group, like people are quite shy to, express their opinion, express their feeling, they're going to say, okay, let's take the least amount of risk. And, like whatever solution, like the first one who is courageous enough to say, okay, let's go in that direction, and people will follow and will be a little bit afraid of making decision on their own. So how have you been able to try to make sure that, like whenever decision needs to be taken by innovators, not by only one leader, but by a group of leaders, to like have this decision emerging, like from a group and not necessarily, like from, like the fear of making the right like decision when it comes more to politics versus what is good itself for the company, because very often companies like organization are failing when they make like stupid decisions like this. So how have you been able to help them like maybe making the right educated decisions?
I guess that's why the role of a facilitator is so important. And I believe it is not just professional facilitators like us who should play a role. In fact, our mission, my mission is every leader and their team members should practice their own facilitation skills.
Yeah.
And the biggest and the best thing one can do is to be a good listener. You know, I'm going back to the fundamentals, and why I got into coaching is because I want to improve myself as a human being fundamentally. You know?
Yeah.
And one of the biggest lessons which leaders who are driving innovation or otherwise is, can you be a good listener? Which means you come across to your team that I will not kill an idea, I will be a good listener. And let's welcome everybody's ideas. And the other thing, Aurelien, I would say is too much discussion is happening in meeting rooms.
Yeah.
Get out of the building. A very famous saying when we do startup, growth, hacking. Don't spend time in the meeting rooms and conference rooms and one-off offsites. On a regular basis, are we spending time outside? Are we able to bring ideas and collaborate? The other thing which really works to answer you is leverage somebody else, a third person. Especially in China, it works. What I mean by that is, let's take an example here. We are working on an innovation mission for an EV company to work, let's say, with a healthcare brand to provide home care service, door-to-door, emergency home care service. Yeah. Now, our core team is sitting here, R&D, Insights, Marketing, CEO, and we are trying to ideate what's the best way to market or bring customers or users to sign up. This is one scenario. Versus a second scenario where you actually get third party from another category, another industry, Meituan, delivery people who have nothing to do with your product.
Yeah.
Involving them in the discussion. I've worked in so many missions where consumers are not used for focus group discussions actually, but consumers or normal people are used to sit and ideate together. Imagine really getting the office secretary, your parents involved, going to the park and talking to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The best principle of innovation and decision making is to fire the bullet, to fire the bullet from somebody else's shoulder. Bring different views, diverse views, and let them influence. That works.
That is really interesting. So, Nishtha, if we could narrow down a little bit our focus to luxury China, what do you think are the top challenges where decision makers are, facing and still struggling to optimize operational efficiency, especially when it comes to customer engagement and personalization?
Interesting what you asked, Aurelien. So many years I was thinking, why was I studying economics in college? Because my interests lie in other spaces as well. And recently, I got reminded the first principle of economics is value. We are paid for creating and bringing value, not time, not a product, not a service, but what's the value within that? So brands, luxury brands or any brand, they need to reflect again and again what's the value they're bringing for which the consumers will pay a price. If the value is not changing, and by the way, scarcity has been a value for luxury brands for centuries, but it can't continue to just be scarcity and limited editions and fancy products or craftsmanship alone. So brands need to think about, leaders need to think about, can we double or triple the value the consumers will feel when they buy or consider us?
Yeah.
So in that context, I would say the decision makers and leaders need to look at 2 or 3 things very quickly. One, what's the value creation? Right? Especially in the context of China, the prices have been increasing actually. If you see,
the spread with global is still getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah,
it's so much easier to go to Japan or to
yeah.
Singapore to purchase luxury goods right now.
Exactly. And knowing that the value creation is not happening in the competitive set of only luxury. What is luxury? Right? A lot of luxury. I'm avoiding to take brand names on your podcast right now, but if you look at any luxury brand, they would say, oh, we're operating in skincare or skincare or handbags or watches or. But that's not a competitive set anymore, especially in China.
Yeah.
Your competitive set is wellness industry, hospitality industry, travel industry, right? So the value creation. And a lot of local Chinese brands, luxury local Chinese brands have got it right because they realized, hello,
Yeah.
people love traveling right now. They'd rather spend money on travel. Can I offer them a luxurious experience of travel,
Yeah.
partnering with a local luxury SUV and a hotel, rather than, so we go where the consumers are traveling rather than expecting the consumers to come to our shop.
Exactly.
That's number one, value creation. So number two, as we know, we just spoke, prices are increasing. So imagine luxury brands, just because they obviously had an analysis and a mandate and they saw uptake in the trend, they decided, some of them, to double the price.
Yeah.
Hello. I mean, if you're doubling the price, fair, what value are you creating? At the same time, some smart brands, what they've done, decision makers, is to collaborate. So free yourself from exclusivity only of yourself. Number three, I would say, is data, AI, automation. All of these tools to understand how can you personalize your outreach to your customers. And I think some smart brands are using insights from hospitality and travel industries and saying, can we do retargeting?
Yeah.
Right? Who says that you have to use data only for selling to your own database? Thanks to Tencent, thanks to Alibaba, thanks to Meituan, thanks to all of these apps, actually they are very eager to give or facilitate data insight sharing between brands. So as a luxury brand, have you thought about that?
Yeah. Afterwards, as well, like it's very important to consider, like the personal information protection law.
Oh, of course,
So,
of course.
I mean, the data exchange can happen, but I would say it's quite complex.
I stand corrected. I didn't mean the data exchange, but say the insights.
Yes, the insights,
The
absolutely.
insights.
Yeah.
So for example, if you look
Or
at
the targeting for new potential users having a specific interest,
Yeah.
that's something that works
so
pretty well.
platforms, actually formal
Yeah.
services by platforms,
Yeah.
where they can offer you category insights or industry insights
Yeah.
or target
Yeah.
audience specific insights
Target audience, yeah.
without sharing. But the point is, are you accessing it? Are you asking the right questions to those platforms?
Absolutely.
So I think
Makes it critical.
these are the things for decision makers to consider.
Absolutely. So Nishtha, whenever decisions are being made, especially when we're talking about, like those AI tools or those segmentations here or any, like technology system, what do you think is the right proven process to make sure that systems can be fully implemented and making sure that, because we see very often, okay, let's do this. And then everybody gets excited. There's a meeting, like big announcement, and then, nothing is moving forward. So what do you think is the proven process for success?
Sometimes going back to the basics
Yeah.
are the best. Again, I'm a fan of analogy. What happens in any relationship when we don't keep open communication? Misunderstanding can happen, breakdown of communication, etc., etc. So coming back in the business context and the implementation of technology especially, because not everybody in the organization has the same level of understanding of technology. So the foundation is visibility. Is your organization fully aware, visible? And I don't mean every single person of the 5,000 employee workforce, but more than your department. Why should the CRM and the marketing team only be previewed to the implementation plan and change? So visibility. Let them have access to visibility early on and have a regular update. This is what we are doing. C. And maybe have one or two points in that. This is what successful leaders are doing. One or two gate point during the process where you can invite inputs. The minute you invite opinion or input, the implementation becomes double more successful. So I would say that. And the second point is, which I love, let's please all of us go back and refer to the World Economic Forum's latest skills report. It's not new, everybody probably knows that, but let's remind, the more AI and more technology adoption is coming, personalization, the more need for skills like communication, critical thinking, creativity, and that is what we need to work in tandem in upskilling our workforce and our teams.
Very interesting. So now talking about, like the beneficiaries of all of this, like the users, obviously, the Chinese consumer in today's context, in today's conversations, what are some of the learnings and some of the observation, on their hyper-personalization needs that you have seen? And, like, what do you think are the quick wins and the short-term investment, that, like brands are going to do to address these personalization issues?
I feel the Chinese users themselves are the innovators. What I mean by that, or actually any users in the world, especially in Asia, I would say.
Yeah. Or their expectations in China,
Exactly.
you mean like they're going to be bigger than like most of the
It's
most of
like,
the places,
don't tell me
right?
what to do.
Yeah.
Can you please listen? I already have some ideas. That's the fundamental shift I've seen in 20 years. When I came to China 2005, and maybe you also see that over the years, people just waited. Even in the room, even in your teams. Give me instructions, tell me ABC, I will do ABC. You give me something interesting, you show me wow technology, wow product, I will just lab it. Versus today, hang on, I have a better idea. Can you involve me? Can you include me? That's the biggest shift. So from involve me and take me on the journey to let me experience my own local heritage. While I love the craftsmanship, the stories from France, from Italy, from Malaysia, from Argentina, that's great because that's what I want to buy and experience. But can you walk me down memory lane? Can you bring me closer to something which ignites an emotion in me, which is relatable to me as a Chinese user? So that is the second point, which is a shift happening. And an example, if I take also luxury, but in the F&B luxury space, is like Beijing has these old famous pastry, and I'm kind of pronouncing the Chinese now, it is Dao Shangsun pastries from Beijing, and they reignited that trend with Gen Zs and invited them. Something which is not available for some time, and they brought it back. Walnuts cake, special luxurious walnut cakes from 1970s, especially in Chengdu. So a lot of regional preferences is coming back. Third one is bespoke, which is luxury brands forte. Some of them are doing pretty well, especially the local ones, where can I offer you a customized, personalized service, which is you pay a price, you pay a premium for service, but it's bespoke to you. Right? It could be tailored to you. Not a lot of brands were doing that, but some of them are doing that. So bespoke to me. That is number 3. And the number 4 is lower tiers. Is the untapped space in China. So lower tier, tier 3, tier 4. A lot of, disposable income is available in lower tiers. What they're getting tired and upset about is, why do you expect me to come to just Beijing, Shanghai, Shenzhen, Chengdu to shop? And again, it's not about just being available. Of course, e-commerce is available. The point is, are you there engaging with me? Are you understanding that my luxury and leisure time is a little different from tier 1?
Yeah.
So I think we have to keep those dynamics in mind while we're trying to grow
Very
in
interesting.
a country like China.
All right, Nishtha, we have 1 or 2 questions left. Probably, we're getting the inspiration as we're talking. So, have you seen any great example, case studies of the adoption, the usage of AI and generative AI when it comes to personalization in the Chinese market?
Interesting. Aurelien, as a teenager, if I may ask you.
That was a while ago.
I'm assuming you're in a similar demographic trajectory.
Yeah.
Were you into greeting cards for your girlfriends or family?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that was quite a while ago. Yeah.
And then I've gone through that phase as a teenager.
Yeah,
I think
I mean,
that was
at that time, I was just starting to have SMS,
okay. You were younger to me then.
starting to have SMS, yeah.
Again, I think the point is that for 2 decades, I think that trend kind of disappeared. The whole personalization
Yeah.
kind of had disappeared. And of course, some people tried in personal gifting and coffee shops tried and all of that. But here, an interesting example of this year, especially or recently, was Valentino, the luxury brand, and it's on the internet as well. Their interactive gift box went viral actually on Xiaohongshu, on other platforms as well, where they offered and they brought creativity, both offline and online, being able to personalize by providing the AI tool, but hyper-personalization where you can actually add stickers, you can add the fonts, you can add and customize greeting cards and bringing back the human touch. I think that's the fundamental. And of course, other brands, the Estee Lauder has done some engagement where they have actually partnered. Again, a good example of partnerships and collaboration with local designers and creating personalized products and then using AI to kind of do the outreach. But as a summary, what we could take away is AI and tech is an enabler. It's a tool to achieve your objective.
Yeah.
So let's define your pain point and your objective and your problem to solve. Find the right tool. And then let's not forget the human touch. Going back to basics to this conversation.
Yeah.
Human touch. In all of these examples, they are bringing back and not exaggerating, but amplifying, augmenting the human touch, the creativity aspect.
Yeah, I think this is really the main point. There was recently another survey from one of those top consultancy, just showing again, especially when it comes to the retail space, that the key element was actually the service from the customer associate, the sales associate, that was having the biggest impact actually on the revenue of the brand. So, the human touch is, we can do the whole technology that we want, the entire personalization, but in the end, if the human touch is not here, technology is going to be, pretty much useless. So I think you make a very, good point here, Nishtha.
And closing, may I just add a closing?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, go ahead.
I'm a big fan of leveraging our cultures,
yeah.
No matter which culture we are working in or you're selling your product or your brand in. And, this small touch, as an example of Chinese or Asian or India or all of the Southeast Asia as well, of services, you actually come to the door to greet your people.
Yeah.
You go to the door and say goodbye to your people. And this analogy is very important. You are expecting to personalize and connect with the users when they come to you while you are far. Are you going to the customer? When you are exiting your store, online or offline, how are you saying goodbye, see you soon again? Walk till their door. And then you invite them. That example, if we can take inspiration. You look at any local gym, local nail spa, hair spa in China. I love the way they will come until your taxi, until your car, and say, thank you for coming with a smile.
Yeah.
In my culture, we also say Atiti Deva Bhava. Guests are God. In Chinese culture, similar.
Wow.
So guests are like God, or guests are like so important. And leaders, as innovative leaders, you need to walk the talk. We need to walk the talk, even with our employees and talent. I don't know. I would love to learn from you. Let's walk together.
Very powerful.
Thank you for having me over.
Very powerful, Nishtha. Thank you so much for this excellent moment. We're gonna wrap up today. So see you soon, guys, for another episode of the ITC Insight podcast. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.